It had been raining all morning. The kind of soft, steady rain that doesn't shout, just lingers like it's got nowhere else to be. I wasn't supposed to be walking that way. I'd taken a wrong turn after picking up a parcel from the post office, cut through Main Street without thinking. And that's when I saw her, through the foggy window of that little cafe we used to go to after work. There she was, Lydia. 7 years. It had been 7 years since the divorce. Papers were signed, and the silence between us started stretching, wide enough to hold all the things we never said. I froze. Her hair was pulled back like she used to do when she was thinking hard. She had that same old book in her lap, the one she never finished. She always said she liked the idea of it more than the story. I knew every line of her posture, the way her hand cradled the coffee mug like it was a lifeline. She looked up. And for a second, I wasn't standing in the street soaked in December rain. I was 30 again, married, naive, hopeful, still believing love could fix anything. Our eyes locked. She didn't smile. Neither did I, but something passed between us. Recognition. Surprise. Guilt. I don't know. Maybe she saw the same in me. I should have walked away. I didn't. My legs moved before my brain caught up. I stepped through the door and a bell chimed. That same little bell that used to make her laugh and say, "This place feels like a memory in progress." She looked up again when the door shut behind me. "Hi," I said, my voice quieter than I meant it to be. She blinked, mouth parting slightly, as if her breath caught somewhere it shouldn't. "Hi," she said. Just that. A soft exhale. I pulled out the chair across from her, sat down. My jacket dripped water onto the tiled floor, but I didn't care. Neither of us spoke for a while. She looked older, but not in a bad way. Just real, like life had carved things into her gently, but deeply. I wondered if I looked the same. "Didn't expect to see you," she said. Finally, neither did I. She offered me a ghost of a smile, the kind that's been through war. "You still drink black coffee?" "Sometimes." I paused. Still read the first half of books. That made her laugh. Not fully, but enough to stir something in my chest I thought I buried. The waitress came by, and Lydia ordered for both of us without asking. She remembered. She actually remembered. And just like that, we were sitting across from each other again, not as husband and wife, but as two people caught in a rainstorm of unfinished things. My hands trembled under the table. There were 1,000 questions on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them because the look in her eyes told me something bigger was coming, something heavy, maybe even something honest. And despite everything, I wasn't ready to run. I leaned forward slightly. "So, how have you been?" She stared at her cup for a moment, then looked back up. "I've thought about you more times than I can count." I didn't know what to do with that sentence, but I stayed. I stayed because for the first time in 7 years, the silence between us was cracking open, and I needed to know what was inside. She stirred her coffee, though it didn't need stirring. The silence between us had wagers of it, packed tight with things we never unpacked. I wasn't sure if she was stalling or simply trying to breathe through whatever she had come to say. "I didn't think you'd actually walk in," she said. "Finally, you looked like you wanted me to." "I didn't know what I wanted," she admitted, her voice lower now. "Still don't." I studied her face. It wasn't just time that had changed it, it was something deeper. Grief, maybe, or consequence. She wasn't putting on makeup or charm. She looked exactly like someone who had come to a place she never thought she'd return to. "I shouldn't have just disappeared the way I did," she said. "That's a hell of an opening line," I replied, trying to keep the bitterness out of my voice. "I only half succeeded." She flinched, but nodded. "I know, I deserve that." I let out a breath. "Why now, Lydia?" Her eyes shimmered, whether from emotion or the reflection of rain against the window. I couldn't tell, because I couldn't keep pretending like the ending was enough. We sat still. A couple behind us laughed loudly, breaking the mood for a second, then fading into the background. Our little bubble held firm. "I didn't leave because I stopped loving you," she whispered. The words hit harder than they should have. "You left because you stopped trying." Her head dropped, shame written into the slope of her shoulders. I didn't know how to be in a marriage that kept reminding me of what I'd lost. "What did you lose?" "Me," she said. "I lost myself. And instead of telling you, I ran. I was scared you'd hate me." I looked away. "I did. For a long time." "Do you still?" "I don't know. That's the problem." My voice cracked. You don't get to drop a bomb and disappear and then expect clean answers 7 years later. I'm not expecting anything, she said. Not forgiveness, not closure, not even understanding. I couldn't carry it anymore without telling you the truth. What truth? She hesitated. Her fingers trembled as she gripped the edge of the table. There was someone else, she said finally. Not while we were married, after. But it happened too fast. I think I rushed towards something just to prove I could feel again. And all it did was prove I couldn't. I sat back, numb. I wasn't surprised, but hearing it still lodged something deep in my ribs. I didn't come here to get anything from you, she added quickly. I just needed you to know I didn't stop caring. That the version of me who ran. She wasn't all of me. I swallowed hard. My hands felt heavy. You ever think about what we could have been if we actually talked like this back then? All the time, she said, eyes wet. But I also know I would have ruined it anyway. I wasn't ready to be honest with you or with myself. I looked at her, really looked. This wasn't the woman who left me. This was someone who'd been through a storm I never saw coming. And maybe I had, in some way, failed to see her drowning. I'm not angry anymore, I said, surprising even myself. Her bottom lip quivered. That's more than I deserve, I shrugged. Maybe not. But I'm here, and I'm listening. She closed her eyes for a second, as if steadying herself. That's all I ever wanted, really, to be heard. Her voice cracked like a branch giving way under weight. And in that moment, I realized something. This conversation wasn't about forgiveness. It wasn't even about reconciliation. It was about release. The version of me that had waited for an apology, for understanding, for explanation. I could feel him fading. Not because I didn't care anymore, but because I finally knew enough. I reached for my coffee. It was cold, but I stayed seated. So did she. We didn't speak for a while after that. Just sat in the lull of everything that had already been said. I looked at her hand, still the same shape, the same slight tremble when she was nervous. I remembered how they used to trace circles on my back when I couldn't sleep. Funny what sticks with you. She finally broke the silence. I didn't think this would feel like a funeral. I gave a sad laugh. Maybe it is. But sometimes a proper goodbye is the most honest thing left. Her eyes met mine, glassy but steady. You were a good man to me. I just wasn't good to myself. That one hurt. Not because it blamed me, but because it didn't. I wasn't perfect either, I admitted. I stopped checking in with you. Stopped seeing you the way I used to. I thought if I just kept us moving forward, the cracks wouldn't catch up. She nodded slowly. We both disappeared, just at different speeds. Then she reached across the table, hesitated for a second, and gently placed her hand over mine. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't a plea. It was a touch filled with history, a recognition of what was real. Even if it ended, I'm not here to rewrite anything, she said. I just needed you to know I loved you. I still do, in some way, but not the kind that asks for a second chance. Just the kind that hopes you sleep better now. I swallowed. My throat tightened, and I couldn't speak for a moment. When I finally did, my voice was barely above a whisper. I do sleep better. Not always, but better, she smiled. A full one this time. Not forced, not apologetic. Just warm. For the first time since I sat down, I saw peace on her face. I think that's enough, she said quietly, as if she were convincing herself. Not me. I stood slowly. She didn't try to stop me, didn't ask for another minute, just squeezed my hand once and let go. Outside, the rain was still falling, but softer now. The streets reflected the cafe lights like a painting smudged by memory. I didn't look back. I didn't need to, because in that moment, I understood something I never did before. Not every love story ends with a kiss, or a reunion, or even closure. Sometimes, it ends with two people sitting in a cafe after 7 years of silence, saying the things that should have been said a lifetime ago. And then walking away not with regret, but with something quieter, something like peace.